Hello again, welcome back to the channel. So, Hell Let Loose was released last month on Xbox Game Pass, and what I've noticed is that there's quite a large number of new players who are joining the game and playing it maybe for the first time, which is a really cool thing. But what I've noticed is a lot of the new players may have come from, say, a Call of Duty or a Battlefield background, and they don't really have that much of a clue on how to actually play something like Hell Let Loose, which is, in my opinion, quite a lot more difficult than the likes of Battlefield or Call of Duty. So I'd say now, after a month of it being out, for everyone on Game Pass, it's probably a good time to do a top 5 list of my kind of biggest tips on how you can get better, and most importantly, how you can stop dying every time you respawn. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and let's get into our first tip. So tip number 1, and probably my biggest tip, is to just play your role. So if you're playing as the rifleman or the assault or the automatic rifleman, then you need to be the attacking force of the team. If you're playing the support or the machine gunner and the anti-tank, you shouldn't be at the front of the attack pushing the way for the enemy. That's the job of the people with the automatic weapons. And especially when you have the US faction against the German faction, one side of the team has automatic weapons to attack with, and the other side of the team has bolt action rifles to defend with. So if you have those automatic weapons, you need to push up and pressure the enemy, because the majority of time they literally have one shot to take you down, and quite often they'll miss it, where you're standing there with an entire magazine to just empty the whole clip into them. So if you have one of those attacking classes like I've specified, then you need to be attacking. Like the amount of times I've seen people with submachine guns in attacking classes trying to sit at the back of the map and snipe someone with a Thompson from half a mile away, when in reality they should be throwing the smokes which come with their class and then pushing up, taking the ground and capturing the objective. And what I also say as well is, if you are playing the engineer role, you should be building defenses. You should be destroying defenses. You should be playing the role which you are playing. Don't take the machine gunner role and then try and act as if you're kind of the front man for a push. Don't run around hip firing the machine gun pretending that you're Rambo like you can see in the clips here, because you're not going to actually do anything. What's better is, if you're playing those roles, is to get into a kind of secluded seated position and provide that suppressive fire which allows your attacking roles to push up. It's not like Call of Duty when you can just pick every role, and every role is an attacking role. Specific roles are made for specific purposes. So if you're choosing a certain role, then you need to be doing what that role says. So tip number 2 is to get into the cap zone. And what I mean by the cap zone is that black circle, because when you get into that black circle, your capturing power is worth 2 instead of 1, and this then means that you can begin to overpower the amount of enemies who are trying to put together some sort of defense. Now, it doesn't mean that you begin to capture it at a faster rate. It just means that you can, say, have 20 people versus a defensive force of 20, but because your 20 people are all inside that black capture zone, it then means that you have 40, and you can then begin to capture the objective. And tip number 3 is to use the grass. So as you can see in the clips on the screen here, literally just plant yourself into the corner of the field and slowly climb up amongst all of the grass and the hedgerows. And what you'll find is a lot of the people can't actually see you, and it's very good when you're very close to the point and you need to kind of put on a final push or a final flank to get in behind the enemy and clear them out. And what I would also say as well is, quite a lot of the tanks can't see you either when you do this, especially when they have their gun kind of higher up to try and look for bigger targets. So especially in those types of scenarios where you may have to cross a large amount of open ground, if there is the opportunity to maybe jump into a ditch or into a trench or into a river, or just by using the grass which is there, it can mean that you can get an extra 50 or 100 yards than what you would have originally done if you would have just ran across an open field. And tip number 4 is, tanks are blind. Tanks in this game, unlike the likes of Battlefield, don't have third-person view, which means they can only see and they can only kill what the turret is actually looking at. And if you ever attempt to play the tank class, what you'll find is that the turret itself moves extremely slowly. And as you can see in the clips I have here, especially in this clip, even though the machine gun started shooting at the person in front of me, because I got up quickly and I ran away, it meant they couldn't do anything. They can't track the machine gun fast enough to kill me. And especially in this clip here, you can see I'm literally standing right beside the tank. I'm even hitting it with the shovel, and because the person who is on the turret in the tank cannot see me and the spotter can't see me who's also in the tank, the people in the tank have absolutely no clue that I'm beside them. And this is perfect when you say need to take a couple of shots with your rocket launcher, as you can see I'm doing here, or you want to kind of push past the tank which may be in a entrenched position watching over an objective. And finally, tip number 5 is that you can kill the people who are firing the artillery rounds. So this was again something which I didn't know when I started playing the game, but if you actually push to the back of the map to your enemy's spawn, you'll find the artillery guns which the enemy will use to rain down artillery on the objective, and these people can be killed. There's nothing stopping you from running the length of the map and taking them down, as you can see here. So it's just something to keep in mind, that if the enemy are continually firing artillery while you're trying to push up, you might want to go on a bit of a side mission, a bit of a lone wolf mission, to take out the artillery guns and allow everyone to push up. And with that, that is kind of 5 quick tips on how you can get better at Hell Let Loose in 2024 if you have just started playing. If you found the video useful at all, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to drop me a comment, and most importantly, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.